There's a good amount of dark atmospheric puzzle games out there, and Black Fall does its best to try to stand out. But does this game end up working like a shining light for the genre, or does the hammer come crashing down on it? Black Fall has you controlling an unnamed character who's doing their best to try to escape an evil communist regime. Every room that you enter in the game will provide you a puzzle or two for you to solve, which will usually end up with your character meeting their demise a time or two before you finally figure out what you need to do in order to get through it. Early on, a lot of the puzzles just have you waiting for certain enemy characters to interact with objects, or just sneaking on by them, or waiting for something to pass overhead so that you're able to get past the evil red lights. Basically, anything red in this game ends up working against you, and if you're caught in the red light, your character's pretty much going to be dead. Though when you make it a little bit farther in, you end up getting a laser, which is a big part of the puzzle solving. Here you'll be able to control some of the other slave drone-like characters and get them to do what you want, as well as being able to hit certain switches. About halfway through the game though, this changes up even more as you actually get a dog companion-like robot that ends up joining you for the adventure, which reminds me a little bit of A Boy and His Blob. Here you're able to turn the dog into a cube to use as a platform or get him to attach on to certain things, and honestly from this point on I actually really enjoyed the game. I found the first half of the game to actually be much more difficult than the second half of the game, but whether or not this was actually a difficulty spike or the game just ended up getting easier as I learned the mechanics, I'm not too sure. The game has that old school Prince of Persia-like feel to it, where you're grabbing on the ledges and slowly pulling your character up. Trial and error is your best friend of figuring out exactly what you need to do to get past most of the puzzles in the game itself. However, the mechanics would be a little bit finicky. Sometimes I would do something and fail and then redo it the same exact way and it would end up working. Sometimes the hit detection with the lasers, the hit certain switches would be a little bit off at best, and even the platforming itself, while for the most part it worked, sometimes it would just end up missing whatever I was trying to hit. The game doesn't provide a whole lot of story or dialogue to bog things down. Most of it is just you making it from area to area, and any cinematics are usually involved introducing new hazards that you'll have to deal with, such as the giant mechs which are introduced about halfway through. Honestly, one of the best things about the game is its very lenient checkpoint system. Basically, any failed attempt at doing anything will just set you back a couple of seconds, so you'll be able to try things again, which is something I very much appreciate, and there's almost no loading time to be had in the game. Unfortunately though, the game is pretty short. In fact, it only took me around 2 hours in order to complete it the first time around. From the technical side of things, while the game didn't crash on me, there were a few glitches here and there. In fact, the game completely broke on me one point where it just went to a black screen and didn't progress no matter what I ended up pressing. I had to go back to the main menu, and a few times just the overall mechanics didn't seem to be working, and when I would end up retrying it, it would work the second or third time around. Black Fall is available now on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC for $14.99, and it does feature a Platinum trophy. Overall, Black Fall is a cinematic platformer that does a decent enough job, but it's a little bit too short, and the mechanics don't always end up working in its favor. If you like this kind of genre, you'll probably end up liking this title, but with everything said, I'm going to be giving Black Fall a 7 out of 10. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.